Hello, ABL and fans of the ABL. I am Alan of the Rockies with Armchair Updates, with a kind of a later than usual week three. It's been a rougher week and a half than I anticipated it being, but I figure if Tyler of the Twins can get out power rankings today, which, side note, congratulations to Tyler. If anybody didn't hear, he just had a son on Saturday. So pretty big deal. And less than a week later, he's pushing out, pun intended, maybe, I don't know, week three power rankings. I can get out a quick week three pod before week three is actually over. I remember it was about this time last year. I had to go back to Illinois for a funeral, and I think it was like week four, week five. I missed week four and then tried to squeeze them both together in week five, and it felt kind of weird. It just felt stupid to be talking about a week that seemed so far behind. So yeah, I didn't want to. And I guess I felt like I didn't want to miss three completely. And then when I saw those power rankings pop up, I'm like, okay, that'll give me a little extra little crack to talk about because I haven't done my usual sit and look at stuff to try to break these things down. But whatever. Quick week three here. That being said, let's just jump right into it. Nice week for many teams. Week three was this. This better be week three. I'm looking at, yes, period three, rather, scoring period three, not full week three, but 10 teams go undefeated. The Cardinals, the A's keep crushing, and the Cardinals keep crushing too. But I kind of expected that more than I have with Oakland. But the Cards, the A's, the Giants, the Cubs, the Sox, the White Sox, and Baltimore all go 3-0. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Miami, nice. The Yankees all go 2-0. So there's your nice spread of undefeated teams for week three. Some of those, I'll get into the other. So let's just keep it as it is for now. Your 2-1 teams were the Phillies, the Brewers, the Mariners. Dr. Joe was the only guy to go an even 500 on the week, 1-1. The Jays, the D-backs, the Tigers, the Rays, the Braves, the Angels, the Royals, and the Red Sox all go 1-2. And then we get to the dregs. Some of these are good teams. Some of them are the dregs. Cleveland, Texas, a disappointing 0-3. Cincinnati, 0-3. The Nats and the Mets go 0-3, while the Rockies, the Pods, and the Astros taking a tough 0-2 there. Those teams all go 0-2. So the standings kind of, you can't really say that they're shaking out, but some are looking different after 1 week. Especially you look at the NL East, you have the Phillies sitting on top, and then the second place Marlins are 3-5, are 2 games under 500. The Phils are 8-1. The Phillies look to be in a pretty good position, barring unforeseen health and stuff like that. It looks like they're gonna run away with this division. It's very early, yes, but I think it looks like the East might firmly already belong to Philly. And I don't want to be disparaging other teams or whatever, but that's just what it looks like. Look at this shit. Come on. This looks like Philly's division. NL Central still looking very tough. Cincinnati starting rough, but all 4 other teams well over 500, playing very good fantasy baseball. The Cubs well outscoring what they're taking. And of course, the Cards and the Pirates are. The Brewers are a little closer of a gap there, but very good division like we thought it was going to be. NL West, I don't know what to think about the NL West. I still think that it's too early to really be talking about it. I just wanted to mention how much Philly was kicking the shit out of everybody else because these other divisions are so tight, with the exception of a few teams that still anything can and probably will happen. I mean, you're definitely not counting Detroit out at 2-6 in the AL Central. There's no way you're going to do that. I would not count Texas out at 2-6. There's, none of these guys are out of it right here. None of these guys. Really, the only teams that are looking in a lot of trouble are myself, the Mets, and I suppose the Nats. The Nats look like they're in some trouble as well. I wouldn't even put Cincinnati. Cincinnati's put up decent points, but needs a lot to break right, in a really tough division. So that's through 3 weeks. Again, man, Baltimore still impressing, 6-3, sitting on top of that division. Very tough. AL East still very bunched together. Toronto 3-5, Tampa at an even 4-4, but a big spread between Tampa's points for and points allowed for them to be 4-4. I haven't really looked at their individual games much yet, but and then like I said, look at Detroit. Poor Detroit he's probably running into teams from the Central that are beating the shit out of him. I mean, last year he was one of those teams that these guys are just slugging it out, and now the Royals. You had what the Twins, White Sox, and the Tigers were last year, with Cleveland and Kansas City were, there was no real middle tier. That division was kind of the upper tier and the lower tier, and that was Cleveland and Kansas City. Now Kansas City seems to have planted themselves already in that upper tier. So you have one more upper tier team just in there slugging it out with everybody else, and yet still Minnesota comes away as one of the 3 remaining undefeated teams. I named this episode something about a 3-headed monster. You got St. Louis, you got Minnesota, and then you got Oakland. You got Oakland at 9-0, scoring nearly 700 points more than he's allowed. I mean, Oakland was not a bad team last year, fell short of the playoffs, but man, I don't remember what I said I thought about them. I really should review that so I have some sort of refresher on what I thought about these guys coming in. But I don't think I said Oakland was going to suck or anything. I think I thought they were going to be good. But to start 9-0, very impressive. 4-0 in the division, looking very good. And David is not a loud owner. He pops his head in the Discord and stuff, but he doesn't make a lot of, hey, I'm looking for this, or he makes some deals. He hasn't made a lot of giant deals or anything, but man, he's built that Oakland team. Built that Oakland team into what looks like a contender. It's like my God, shit. Where was I? Oh yeah, let's look at this stuff here. So your smallest margin of the week that helped Baltimore go undefeated was a 1-point win over Toronto, and allowed Baltimore to go undefeated on the week, and of course handed an interdivision loss to the Jays by 1 point. Man, we have had some close ones every week so far. Number 2, Seattle over Texas, another interdivision and a rough one for Texas, 3.667 points. So Seattle stealing one from the Rangers. And then we had a father-son. I didn't even realize that until now. A father-son slim victory. The Angels, Cal, beats his dad, Don, of the Red Sox by 4.833 points to nab. Was that the Angels' first win of the year? It was. So the kind of neat that Cal's first win in ABL comes from a fewer than 5-point victory over his own father. Call that a Kirk gem or something, but that's kind of neat. I like that. Number 4, the Yankees over the Atlanta Braves, 7.334 points. And then number 5, Minnesota, to remain undefeated, handed that 500 week to Dodger Joe by 7.5 points. So the Twins, like I said already, one of the 3 undefeated teams, and he did so with a fortuitous win against a tough Dodger team. Tough last year, tough this year. 7.5 points to make it into the small margin list for the week. The point per game week 3 leaders, Oakland, man, 4.46, just above Pittsburgh and Toronto. But, man, what a great week for Oakland. And as you can see next there, did it largely on the back of the Bats, the number 2 hitting week. Number 2, Pittsburgh, 4.45 points in 73 games. Toronto, 4.45 points in 60 games. So you see how great of a week Pittsburgh has. Toronto had a little bit of a tougher week, had a really tough loss. Those games matter. You got to get those games played. He averaged a great point per game, but he did it, as you can see, in 11 fewer points than the next closest guy in the top 5. So getting those games matters. Number 4, Philly, 4.4 points in 71 games. And San Francisco, the number 5 spot, drops down a little bit. Everybody else in that 4.4 range. San Francisco drops down to 4.27, but in 79 games. So Josh making sure to have guys in there in every spot every day. And that's how you do it. And then you look and see, well, what did he do? He just led the week in hitting. And he also went 3-0. So 197 hitting points for the San Francisco Giants, something we never saw last year. We certainly never saw San Francisco in the top 5 hitting pitching. When I was kind of jerkily, I guess, doing the bottom stuff, and look how poor these teams did or whatever before I quit doing that. Yeah, sure, maybe. But San Francisco sitting on top of the hitting, 197 points. Number 2, Oakland, 188 hitting points. The Dodgers at number 3, 185. San Diego, 184. I'm going to talk a little bit about them. Hopefully I remember to here in a couple minutes or whatever. 184. And then, again, a little bit of a gap down to the Cubs at 167 hitting points for week 3. Your pitching leaders in week 3, St. Louis, the only guy to eclipse 200, 205.833 pitching points. Pittsburgh at number 2, 187.5. The White Sox, always on the back of the pitching, it seems Harry is going, 164.667. And then Miami, which you would have expected to maybe see had everybody been healthy, or had the guys he was really leaning on been healthy. The DeGrom, of course, the primary, but he does sneak in there in week 3 with 162.333 pitching points. And then Minnesota, 1 point under Tony, 161.333 pitching points. So, there you have it. Nice to see nice to see Miami sneak his head in there. I think I actually wanted to start the yearly, but as I see here, I did not do that. I kind of jumped the gun, I guess, when I saw the power rankings released. As the weeks go on, and as this should be my last week of really feeling pretty crappy, I hope. It's gotten better. I'm able to get multiple hours of straight sleep during the night, and I've started ingesting some solid food. You got to test the shit. You got to see. You're not gonna know the progress you're making if you don't fucking test the thing. But I got off of that fasting and liquid diet because it was just killing me. For one, it was just killing me, and 2, you got to see where you're at. So hopefully this is the last week where I kind of slack on this stuff. I don't like to, but I didn't even kind of realize that I did it today until I'm looking at it now. The little notes and such is that, like I said, Oakland remains on fire. Not that the other 2 undefeated teams haven't, but Oakland is kind of the surprise to me to see at 9-0 still. The 3 undefeateds are Oakland, St. Louis, Minnesota. Very nice. We still have 3 winless teams. My Rockies, Dwight's Mets, and the Washingtons, which is not nice, of course. Philly's magic number is already down somehow to 4 games this early in the season. And like I said, the AL East still is very jumbled. And let's touch on, saw that San Diego came in 4th place in the hitting in week 3, 184 points. A huge portion of the Padres' hitting points have come from 2 guys, Taylor Ward and is it Sheldon Noyce? about 150, give or take, at the time that I was looking at this, combined hitting points. And he got those guys. Noisy, he got off the wire, and Ward, he got in the initial Fabapalooza. They both came off the wire, however you want to say it. But yeah, Taylor Ward has been. If I was in the position that the Pods were in, I don't know what I would want to do with Taylor Ward. He's got him for $8. The guy continues to mash. He plays all three outfield spots, and he looks to be firmly entrenched in playing time in LA. Maybe he's a bit of a late bloomer. He's 28, but he can be extended. So really a tremendous asset that the Pods kind of picked up out of nowhere and has really been carrying. The Pods were 3-5. They're not. It's not like the Pods are dominating or anything, but they're hitting these two guys specifically that he was able to pluck for Fab Box. There's Noisy at 72 points, a 3.13 average, better than anybody on my team. And Taylor Ward, a 5-point per game average. He's already running 95 points in 65 at bats. Just incredible couple of Fab gets there for the Pods, man. I kind of always rag him for wanting to squeeze a Fab dollar out of trades at people. Well, maybe I can get a Fab dollar, for him. Or, hey, Zach, sorry, man, didn't see you this whole time. Yeah, right. Yeah, sort of Jared Walsh-esque, an Angels late bloomer kind of guy that, boy, I wasn't in on him. I have 0 Taylor Ward shares, and it seems like it must be really fun when one of those guys totally goes off like that. That you scooped up off the wire or whatever. That's got to be really fun. My dad texts me every damn time he homers or whatever, so I know he's having fun with it. But I was sleeping on him. I was totally sleeping on him. But I was talking to him last night. Like, what do you think you want to do? Like, have you given any thought to selling high? There's in a 30-team league, there's guys that probably need a guy that can play all three outfield spots and is hitting the shit out of the ball right now. But I don't want to give away, but you guys will hear if he puts him on the block or whatever. But I think he's leaning towards hanging on to him. I think he really likes him. And Noise, I don't know what to think about him, but he's been hitting the shit out of the ball too. So just wanted to point out a couple really nice Fab grabs for the Pods there, kind of under the radar to me. I'm sure other guys were probably in on Ward at the very least, but I didn't go in for him, and I sure shit could use him when I lost Joey Gallo for the better part of a week. I wasn't playing Biggio in the outfield, but certainly could use a Taylor Ward in the utility spot instead of Mauricio Dubon, who is, I think, averaging fewer than 1 point per game, which feels like most of my lineup right now. But I would definitely rather have Taylor Ward in that utility spot than Dubon or my second catcher sometimes that I have to throw in there. Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah. Yeah. And Tyler Wade was a Rocky last year when he was awful, hitting under 200 most of the year. Now he's not going to carry probably the average he has lately, or maybe he will. Maybe he figures something out. Maybe these guys went to the Angels and figure something out. I forget who the current hitting coach is there, but yeah, maybe these guys are finding something in LA. It doesn't seem to be hitting Rendon yet. He kind of went there and he's not the 300, 310, 320 hitter that he looked like he used to be. Him and Rendon and Madison Bumgarner are like the oldest 32, 33-year-olds going in baseball, I feel like right now. That's off the top of my head. I'm sure there's like others, but the fact that Bumgarner is only like 32 just blows my mind every time I hear it. That guy seems like he's been around forever. He seems like he's like Randy Johnson's age when Johnson was old, and he was like 37, 38, 39 and getting up there. And it's like, well, this has to be the last year for this guy, right? Obviously, Bummy's production has declined, quicker than Johnson's did. But anyway, that's way besides the point. I don't think I have a whole lot else for week 3. And yeah, next week I'll start doing the yearly hitting, yearly pitching, yearly point per game, and keep that running tab going. I did want to do it this week, starting the 3rd week, but I forgot. I definitely forgot. Yeah, I think that's about it. So thanks, Zach, for watching live, and anybody else that does as well. This was week 3 of year 2 of the ABL, and we'll see you next time.